Man, you know what? It's physically impossible for me to even review these shows. And I say it every single time we have a takeover show. It is absolutely physically impossible for me to go over everything with you guys. And for the sake of YouTube, I have to get these reviews out because it maximizes the viewership the night of, immediately after the show. You cannot watch these shows in one sitting and take in everything. It is humanly impossible. And that is why a lot of people in the community don't get a review up immediately and go over everything. And I'm going to attempt to do that because I need to have other content out tomorrow, and I don't want to wait to get the takeover review out when I have other things to do and places to be. A lot of people will wait till tomorrow, and they are usually ahead, a day late of everything. They usually wait till the next day. I need to get things done day of. Some people in the community go live, and they barely talk about the show, and they take fan-related questions, they take donations, they take whatever kind of content that their viewership gives them, and they fill an hour and a half full of a review. I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that. And if you guys do have a keen eye, you know, I am wearing the Tommaso Ciampa t-shirt. I was in Brooklyn today. And if I sound a little bit unenergetic, it's because I was in Brooklyn, and I want to thank everybody that bought me a cold beverage, man. You guys were absolutely hospitable to me, and I can't ask for a better fan base. Everybody that came out today at 4th Avenue Pub and bought me a drink, man. You guys had drinks lined up for me more so than I could possibly drink. And I got home just in the nick of time, and I watched this fucking fantastic show. And it's just not a slogan, man. It's just not a t-shirt. It's just not a catchphrase. SummerSlam was tonight, ladies and gentlemen. SummerSlam was tonight. And Summer Scam is tomorrow. Tomorrow night, August 19th, is Summer Scam. You know, there are people in the community that argue with me. There are people, other podcasters that I know, that argue with me about how WWE is entertainment. WWE is entertainment, right? It's catering to a different audience. Meanwhile, NXT is catering to a niche audience, the indie marks, the smart marks, the people who want in-ring over everything else, right? I want you to pick out a negative about tonight's show. One negative. I highly doubt anybody watching this show can pick out one negative from TakeOver Brooklyn. It's amazing to me how anybody can give me that bullshit. How anybody could say, oh, well, the main roster is all about entertainment. Were you not entertained tonight, guys? Were you not entertained? We find entertainment in everything that happened on that show. There were 5 matches. And every match tonight on that show, we were immensely invested in. Every single performer on that show, even EC3 and the Velveteen Dream, who did not have a title match. There was no title on the line. We were invested in that match. Why? Because the promise of both guys is through the roof. Do I even need to talk about Adam Cole and Ricochet? Do I even need to talk about Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa? Do I even need to talk about how NXT handles their tag team titles? And by the way, whoever says tag team wrestling is dead based on what you see on the main roster, man, you are absolutely fucking clueless. Clueless. Tag team wrestling is dead when it comes to the main roster? Why is it that NXT does it right, and when they get to the main roster, everything falls to fucking shit? There's absolutely zero possibility that you put that tag team title match on Monday Night Raw tonight and they don't get over. Give me a fucking break. Absolutely ridiculous. Yet tag team wrestling is dead. Trenton Seven is out of weight. Is out of shape. He's overweight. Tyler Bate is too small. Roderick Strong is too small. Kyle O'Reilly is vanilla. What did they do tonight? They opened that show up the best possible way that you can open up a pay-per-view. The one thing I was most just excited about out of everything, outside the main event, because you guys know that's my bread and butter right there. That is my main interest, Gargano and Ciampa, and what WWE was going to do with that. Did you look at tonight and the Women's Championship match? I want you guys to go back and watch that match. I want you guys to go back and watch that match. And then, soon after, I want you guys to go back and watch that same match from the Mae Young Classic last year in 2017. I want you to see the difference 1 year removed of Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane. Now, individually, you can tell that both women have just reached another level in the WWE environment. But together, what those two women did after a year separated from that Mae Young Classic, I want you guys to ask anybody who is a fucking puppet to the main roster why we're not seeing matches like that on the main roster. I even tweeted tonight the WWE Women's Revolution, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is an absolute fucking farce on the main roster. It is absolutely a fucking political agenda that is nauseating to the fact that I don't even give a shit about anything that the women do on the main roster, no matter how they position my favorites, no matter who they are on Raw or SmackDown. And WWE even put the stamp on what the women's revolution really is with a fucking match that they just announced tonight with Alexa Bliss versus Trish Stratus for WWE Evolution. If that doesn't spell political bullshit, if that doesn't spell favoritism to you, I don't know what else to tell you. That is a 1-star match at best. And I'm saying this right here, right now. No matter how intoxicated I am from today's festivities, I still have a fucking straight edge mind when it comes to this shit. No matter what those women do before Evolution, that is a 1-star match at best. You put a Ruby Riott, you put a Bayley, you put a Sasha, you put an Ember, you put anybody in that match but an Alexa Bliss, and it's an instant 4-star match. That is favoritism right down to the very last letter in that term. That is absolute garbage. And WWE is going to spin that web, and WWE is going to spin that narrative as if it's a revolution. What revolution? The revolution that you've seen. The revolution that you need to be opening your eyes to is what Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane did in that ring tonight. Because the revolution is taking both of those women from where they were in the Mae Young Classic and watching those same females just a year removed from the Mae Young Classic in that ring tonight at TakeOver. And it looked like they were 5 years ahead of where they fucking were just a year ago. Absolutely fucking breathtaking. Breathtaking. So good, I actually wanted to shed a tear when Kairi Sane won that match. Do you want to know why? It's because I was invested in the story that they were telling. I was invested in the fact that Kairi Sane had a problem overcoming the much more dominant Shayna Baszler. If you don't watch that match and don't appreciate what those women did tonight, then you shouldn't be watching this program. You shouldn't be watching this product anyway. NXT TakeOver. And the more I say it, the more I get pissed off. NXT TakeOver. And the people that tell me that WWE caters to a niche audience with this NXT TakeOver and NXT in general is a complete fucking lunatic. They are an absolute fucking clown. Clown. NXT is the future. If you don't understand that, then you should be finding new work. You should be finding a new job. You should be finding a new hobby. Whatever WWE is doing right now on the main roster is absolutely embarrassing. How WWE can start this show at 7 o'clock and end it at 9:30 and actually get an emotion from the crowd not wanting it to end. That's all I need to tell you. This show ended at 9:30 and I did not want it to be over. I did not want it to end at all. But SummerSlam tomorrow, 2-hour pre-show, 5 hours of a main roster show, and what are they going to do? How much of that show are you going to be invested in? WWE has 7 hours of wrestling coming at you tomorrow. We were given 2.5. And how much of that show tonight were we invested in? Every single minute. The difference between NXT and the main roster is not the entertainment. It's not the brand of wrestling that they're giving. It's not about the comedy or the entertainment at all. The people who say that, the more these takeover shows happen, and the more these takeover shows continue to just deliver every single major WWE pay-per-view weekend, the more these people look like a bunch of fucking fools. There is absolutely no way anyone can justify the main roster and what we've been given seamlessly all year, and then watch a show like this, and then watch a show like TakeOver Chicago, and then watch a show like TakeOver New Orleans, or even TakeOver in January in Philadelphia. How you can sit there and justify, oh, it's just a wrestling show catering to a niche audience. Then the people that say that don't really believe in the future of this business. They're relying on WWE's failures to somehow correct themselves and then neglect the future of this business. The future of this business is the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong. The future of this business is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. The future of this business is Aleister Black and Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae. Tyler Bate. Velveteen Dream. How can anyone sit here and tell me that the main roster is just a brand of entertainment catering to the mainstream while NXT is catering to a niche audience? I think it's the other way around. I think what WWE needs to do is open their fucking eyes and start catering to the NXT brand of fucking wrestling. Because there's no fucking way that NXT can continue to deliver and open eyes and literally do everything correctly and make people hungry for more while the main roster is driving away people in fucking legions. You take a dash of what NXT is doing and you apply that to Monday and Tuesday nights, you will see a fucking difference that's going to slowly bring people back. Whatever they're doing now, the constant Roman Reigns plunger down the throat, the constant shit storytelling, the lack of fucking logic, a tag team division that doesn't fucking exist, a women's division that caters to their favorites, that is not even a revolution at all. Yet you want to fucking cater to the Monday night and Tuesday night shows. Fuck you, man. At this point, at the end of this evening, SummerSlam, never mind SummerSlam, SummerSham, SummerScam, whatever the fuck you want to call it. SummerSlam should not even be a thing tomorrow. Don't even bother showing up in Brooklyn. Don't even bother showing up at all. Just go away, pretend like you don't even exist, go away and come back next year when you present me something actually worth caring about. Because as of right now, going into tomorrow night, nobody's going to be talking about SummerSlam at all. It's either going to be complaining about Roman Reigns or the main event and how a fucking main event that nobody wants goes on last after a 6-hour, 7-hour show, or exactly how I stated it would be. Summer Scam. A waste of everybody's fucking time. And not one thing stood out besides AJ Styles and Samoa Joe or The Miz versus Daniel Bryan. I hate repeating myself. I really do. And I'm sorry I'm not getting into the match or the matches tonight. But I don't know what else to tell you guys after what we watch with these shows. I really don't. The one thing that pisses me off is people still tweet me, NXT is nothing but a bunch of smart mark indie fans packed into the Barclays Center. 15,000 people. 15,000 fucking people that made so much noise that tomorrow night they won't even be able to duplicate that. It'll be the reverse opposite of what you hear tonight. Tonight, everybody is in agreement. Everybody is in the same boat. Everybody is in sync, in unison. We all love professional wrestling. This is the brand of professional wrestling that we should be seeing every single week on Monday and Tuesday. Tomorrow night, when we get to the Barclays Center, we're going to be hearing the complete opposite. It's going to be disgust. It's going to be aggravation. It's going to be fucking criticism. That's all it's going to be. Yet people want to cater to Monday night and Tuesday night. Fuck out of here, man. A complete joke. Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown live completely every single time these shows air. Takeover does. During a major pay-per-view, they are absolutely put to shame. Put to shame. There's no fucking way Takeover is going to disappoint anybody anymore. And there's no way the main roster shows are going to even come close to what happened tonight during Takeover Brooklyn. This may have very well been the best Takeover Brooklyn that they've put on. And I'm tired of even coming on here and talking about these shows because they are just so good and they continue to get better and better. Let's talk about this show, man. The one thing I want to concentrate on here is the storylines. That's all I want to talk about. It's humanly impossible for me to go over what happened during these matches. You know, for the most part, this was a predictable pay-per-view. And another thing I want you guys to keep an eye out for. Another thing I want you guys to keep mind of here. Look at SummerSlam's card. How many rematches are there from Extreme Rules? Many, right? The majority of SummerSlam's, the bulk of SummerSlam's card is Extreme Rules 2.0, right? How many rematches did we get on NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4 tonight? How many rematches? We got the Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain. This is the third time that these teams fought. The third fucking time in the last 2 months. Were you bored with that match? Of course not. Nobody watching this show had a problem with what we seen in that match tonight. Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. That's the third time those women went one-on-one. Kairi Sane won the Mae Young Classic final over Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler got a victory on a random episode of NXT TV to tie the series 1-1. And WWE gave us this match again for a third time in Brooklyn. Were you bored with that match? Were you disappointed with what those women did tonight? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I could watch these guys fight every single fucking month, every pay-per-view. That's how good they are. And every single time they are on pay-per-view, and every single time they are in the main event, they manage to do it differently every single time. Look at SummerSlam and look at how many rematches we have and look at how many rematches you are going to be bored with. How many of those rematches do you honestly give a shit about? Zero. Zero. And if you care about any of those rematches, you are absolutely fooling yourself. That's the difference between NXT and SummerSlam. That aspect alone. Quality, logic, story. Monday Night Raw, rematch after rematch after rematch with no story behind it. And for the sake of filling out a pay-per-view card with no invested interest from their audience. Keep an eye out. I'm telling you, when you watch SummerSlam, you're going to go back to this review and you're going to be like, you know what? JD was right once again. The Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain. You know, I have been praising Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Undisputed Era in Chicago. Mustache Mountain, clearly the better team compared to Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. It is very difficult for me to choose of the two matches which one was better. I don't think it's possible. The only thing I was thinking about during this match was the fact that we're getting tag team wrestling in NXT. I'm thinking to myself, why aren't we seeing this on the main roster? Why aren't we seeing this invested storyline intrigue? And why aren't we seeing guys like this on the main roster? Veterans on the main roster give me this type of storytelling to the point where I'm on the edge of my fucking seat, biting my fucking knuckle at every near fall. Why is that? Because the people on the main roster just don't care. They are not fans of professional wrestling anymore. They continuously do their job to collect a paycheck. The people who run NXT and the people who run Monday Night Raw, there's a difference. NXT loves wrestling. Monday Night Raw, I don't know what the fuck they're in love with. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Let me collect a paycheck. And let me get on with our next week. And let me book the show within a 6-hour window before we go live on the USA Network. NXT gave you storyline after storyline after storyline and got you excited already for November. The Undisputed Era, there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that they were going to win this match. That was the only thing logical here. I've been saying it for weeks. The Undisputed Era went into the Royal Albert Hall, and they were the visiting team. Mustache Mountain had home field advantage. WWE pulled the trigger on Mustache Mountain, winning on their home turf. They were the NXT Tag Team Champions. The Undisputed Era come back to Full Sail, and now they're on their home turf. And that's match number 2 between these two teams. Undisputed Era wins that match because of a technicality of Tyler Bate throwing in the towel because he thought whatever the Undisputed Era was doing to Trent Seven's leg, he figured, let me throw in the towel. The titles are not that important. The well-being of my best friend, my trainer, is more important than the NXT Tag Team Championships. So here we are. Here we are in Brooklyn. And WWE went about it the same way, with the same towel, but with the roles reversed. Tyler Bate had a submission hold applied to him, and Trent Seven was on the outside, and he was about to throw in the towel because he was going to feel the same thing that Tyler Bate felt. That one aspect alone in this match made the entire story. That is it. And you know what Trent Seven did? Instead of taking the towel and throwing it in and ruining what is their rematch, an invoked rematch due to their clause, he took the towel and threw it into the fucking audience. I'm not giving in to this fucking team on this night in TakeOver. I'm not doing it. So he takes the towel, he throws it away. So Seven screams for the tag. O'Reilly keeps the hold lock. Seven steps through the ropes. Strong and O'Reilly take advantage of the referee distracted. Seven goes to the timekeeper's area, brings a towel to the apron, like I said. He doesn't throw it in. He changes his mind and throws it into the crowd. Strong gets knocked to the outside. Bate is still in the hold. And the one thing I liked about this, man, and this is what really got my brain working for this tag team bullshit. You know, why we don't see this on Monday Night Raw. How anybody cannot get excited with the fucking just, the will to win by these teams. Roderick Strong was on the outside, and he came in when Kyle O'Reilly had the hold applied on Tyler Bate. And he dragged Kyle O'Reilly with Tyler Bate and the hold applied more to his corner so that he doesn't get the tag on Trent Seven. That one moment in the match, that's what I like to see. That is what I like to see. Bates still in the hold, inching closer to Trent Seven. Trent Seven gets the tag. The hold is broken. Seven unloads on O'Reilly, drops him with a vicious lariat. Bate tags in, goes to the top. Seven lifts up O'Reilly. Strong hits bait, but gets knocked to the floor. They do the burning hammer, but O'Reilly kicks out at a 2 just in time. So the crowd is chanting, "Fight forever." Strong leaps out of nowhere with a jumping knee on bait. They take out Seven's knee. They drop him with the axe and smash combination, which looked as brutal as ever. And they pinned Trent Seven for the victory and the Undisputed Era win and retain the tag team championships. There was a beautiful spot during this match where Tyler Bate did a suicide dive over the top rope. And then the way he does his springboard, he just launches himself into the top rope and does that lariat that he does. But this instance, one of the members of Undisputed, I think it was Roderick Strong, one of the members of the Undisputed Era, which I believe was Roderick Strong, launched him into the bottom rope. And he launched himself, bounced himself off the bottom rope from the outside and did the lariat on the outside. These two teams, I could see fight every single takeover. That's how good they are. What this does now is Trent Seven and Tyler Bate go on to NXT UK, which they did tease during this show. And I think they're going to be a very, very big part of the NXT Tag Team division over there. They may very well be the first NXT UK Tag Team Champions. I've been saying I would not be surprised if they are going up against the Coffey Brothers over there, feuding over the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. Undisputed Era, we all kind of knew what was going on with Undisputed Era. They were going to go past Mustache Mountain. They were going to meet the War Raiders next. The War Raiders, to me, they interfered in this match and they beat the shit out of the Undisputed Era. They gave them their finishing move, just wrecked house on Undisputed Era. I honestly think that if you do the War Raiders versus Undisputed Era before January, you are rushing getting the War Raiders into position to really, really have the fans get behind them. I mentioned this on a few episodes of NXT Review. What you need to do is if you're going towards War Games, you got to have teams set up for War Games. Right now, WWE has teams set up. Other than that, they don't have War Games set up whatsoever. It's going to be Ricochet, and it's going to be the War Raiders. It's going to be Mustache Mountain and Pete Dunne, British Strong Style. It's going to be Adam Cole, and it's going to be the rest of Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Those are your three teams for War Games. If War Raiders beat the Undisputed Era and British Strong Style in that match, more notably Undisputed Era, that is going to be all you need for an NXT Tag Team title match. Keep the tag team titles on the Undisputed Era. There is nobody else in the NXT Tag Team division even close to the Undisputed Era and the War Raiders. It's okay if you drag it out. What you got to do, the main focus here is what you got to do is you got to bring every other team underneath War Raiders and Undisputed Era at least another notch above where they are right now. That's including TM61, the Mighty. That's including Street Profits, which I absolutely think that are fantastic. They need to come on up. WWE, I would love to see Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch back in the fold. Oney Lorcan is back. He is back from his injury. I want to see them get another shot at the tag team titles eventually. I want to see them get back into the race. WWE has a great tag team division in NXT. And that's what you do. War Raiders came out, stake claim at the tag team championships. They are undoubtedly next, but you got to give it time to develop. Get the crowd behind War Raiders. Because right now, if you guys notice with the attack, the War Raiders, they came out, they weren't as over as you would expect them to be going against the heel, quote unquote. And I use that term very loosely, Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era is very over. I don't think many people dislike Undisputed Era. I seen more Undisputed Era Adam Cole t-shirts in Brooklyn today than I seen anything else. That says a lot. They had so much merchandise outside the Barclays Center for the Undisputed Era, it was ridiculous. You know, and if the War Raiders are going to go up against the Undisputed Era, it's going to be a very difficult task right now for the fans to get invested in War Raiders beating the Undisputed Era. The fans want Undisputed Era. WWE wants the War Raiders. If you pull the trigger too fast, I don't think the WWE Universe is really going to take to that at all. You got to be careful. let it grow, let it marinate, go through war games, have the War Raiders go through war games. You know, just like Sanity, just like Roddy did last year, just like AOP did last year, they gained a new level of respect from the NXT crowd. War Raiders have to go through the same thing. And Adam Cole, he could brag about how he won War Games last year. So you're going to put him in that match with Ricochet, and you're going to give him a win over Ricochet in War Games, being that Ricochet won the North American Championship tonight. Just keep an eye out on that. Everything that I'm saying makes total fucking sense. Everything. Moving on here, man. Moving on here. I remember I was at the meet and greet today at 4th Avenue Pub, and we were discussing with you guys. Again, thank you guys for coming out. We were discussing. There was a discussion there. How would we set up the match card for TakeOver Brooklyn tonight? So when they opened with the tag team title match tonight, I'm like, I got it right. I knew they were going to do that. That was the perfect choice right there. Those 4 guys, those 2 teams, boom, right there. And then I said, you know what? We open up with that. We go right into Velveteen Dream and EC3. Done. The only thing I didn't get right was that I thought WWE was going to go with Ricochet and Adam Cole in the co-main event spot. But with the way Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane performed tonight, I don't even think it mattered by the end of the night. I don't even think it mattered whatsoever. EC3 versus the Velveteen Dream. The one thing that we needed to keep an eye out for in this match, and I made mention of this several times already, EC3 is somebody who is in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I know you guys agree with me on that, and it was very, very noticeable in this match tonight. It wasn't a bad match whatsoever. It wasn't a bad match whatsoever. It was very takeover worthy between Dream and EC3. But WWE made mention of Dream being 22 years old. And EC3 is a veteran in this business, okay? He's been around the world with Impact. He knows what he's doing. WWE, he was in WWE. And WWE brought him back after finding success in Impact Wrestling. And now he's here. And now he's going up against a 22-year-old rookie in Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream has had incredible matches with Ricochet. Velveteen Dream has had incredible matches with Aleister Black. Velveteen Dream is one of the most over, one of the most sought after, one of the most must-see characters in all of NXT. If EC3 does not live up to the hype that Velveteen Dream has established for himself, then that doesn't mean anything good moving on here, moving forward for EC3. And EC3, this was actually more important than a title match for EC3. This was actually proving to NXT that EC3 actually belongs, because he hasn't done anything. And none of this really is his fault, majority. This is not all his fault. This is WWE's fault. They have not given me any reason to think that EC3 should be where Velveteen Dream is at all. But tonight's match, I honestly thought they brought it. I honestly thought that EC3 stood out. He gave Velveteen Dream the match that he needed to do. And Velveteen Dream, the right guy, walked away victorious. And that's exactly what needed to be done. The one biggest talking point of this match was nothing to do with the match. The biggest talking point here, from what I gathered on social media, was the fact that Velveteen Dream had something written on his tights. And I quote, "Call me up, Vince." You know, I don't know why WWE had Dream go out there or approve of that for his tights. There have been rumors that the Velveteen Dream is about to be called up to the main roster. I don't think Velveteen Dream wants that whatsoever. After 2 months on the main roster, he's going to have tights whether he shows up on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live. Velveteen Dream's going to have the quote, and I quote, "Call me up, Paul." You ain't going to be wanting Vince McMahon to call you up. You ain't going to want Vince McMahon to do anything with you. I do not trust Vince McMahon or anybody in Vince McMahon's camp with Velveteen Dream at all. It's too soon. He's 22 years old. There's absolutely no reason for him to be called up yet or called down, demoted, however you want to word it. There's no reason for him to be called up to Raw or SmackDown. He may be ready. Velveteen Dream has a character that I could invest myself in more so than anybody else on Monday Night Raw. And that's not just because it's NXT. Because the Velveteen Dream is special. The Velveteen Dream, his character, is must-see. Everything he does, whether it's a movement, whether it's his body language, whether he cuts a promo, it's whether he's standing in the ring holding the microphone as if he's drinking a fine glass of wine. Everything that the guy does, every nuance that he has, every little detail he has about his character, people take notice. People appreciate that. Velveteen Dream is a guy that when you see him in person, he's going to be living that character. He is going to be the Dream. He's not going to be Patrick Clark when you see him in person. You could see him at Starbucks in line ordering a fucking caramel macchiato. You know? He's going to be the Velveteen Dream. He's not going to be Patrick Clark. That's why people gravitate towards Dream. He is must-see. And Velveteen Dream tonight, he was the right guy to win this match, and that's exactly what happened. I don't want to see him called up to the main roster. He may be ready, but I don't think Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live is even close to being ready for the Velveteen Dream. EC3 scoops Dream up on the apron, and Dream slides into the ring, nails a super kick. Dream scoops EC3, hits a rolling Death Valley driver. Signature move. Dream scoops EC3 again. It's countered. EC3 with a German suplex. EC3 brings Dream to the apron. Does a Death Valley driver on the ring apron. Goes to the top rope. Nails the purple Rainmaker on the apron. EC3 rolled into the ring. Cover. 1, 2, 3. EC3 beats, or Velveteen Dream beats EC3. Good match. It did what it needed to do. And Velveteen Dream got the victory. Matt Riddle. By the way, before I get to Matt Riddle, where does Velveteen Dream go from here? I don't know. But the fact that Ricochet won the North American Championship, the door is open for Velveteen Dream and Ricochet, number 2. Velveteen Dream wins. Moving on, Matt Riddle, front row at NXT Takeover Brooklyn. He was wearing a suit, a baseball cap, and green slippers. He must have been doing a little puff before NXT TakeOver Brooklyn because that is one bizarre combination of attire. Ricochet versus Adam Cole for the North American Championship. The last 10 minutes of this match, I dare WWE on the main roster to try and top what these two guys did. It was a little slow getting to that build. It was a little slow getting to that point, but when they shifted it into another gear, my God, did these guys just go off. And we were all jaw-dropped at the end of this thing, man. Ricochet is your new North American champion. A shocking ending to those who picked Adam Cole. And a lot of people picked Adam Cole, including me, because I feel Adam Cole didn't do enough with the North American Championship. I feel Adam Cole didn't do the North American Championship justice. There wasn't enough defenses. It wasn't defended on TakeOver since he won it. And I feel like WWE gave him the championship. Looking back on it now after tonight, WWE gave him the championship because they couldn't put him where they wanted him to in the main event for NXT, for the NXT Championship. Am I upset that Ricochet won the North American Championship? Not at all. The only thing I am really thinking about is, did Ricochet do enough on television as a performer to warrant a North American Championship victory here and a title reign? That's the only thing that I'm worried about. He didn't really do much. He beat the Velveteen Dream. He got into it with Adam Cole a little bit in the Undisputed Era. But he really didn't do it. He actually got pinned by Adam Cole in a 6-man tag. You know? It was the British Strong Style. It was Mustache Mountain and Ricochet versus Undisputed Era. O'Reilly Strong and Adam Cole. And Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, you know, more notably, pinned Ricochet in that match on NXT TV. What has Ricochet done to really say, you know, hey, I think I deserve the North American Championship. Nothing. And hearing all the rumors about Ricochet, the fact that he is a major seller for WWE and NXT on the road, this is why I think WWE gave the North American Championship to Ricochet. Adam Cole is too good. I think Adam Cole was very good at what he was doing, and I feel like his title reign fell short. Where do you go from here with both guys? Does Adam Cole get another rematch? Does NXT really adhere to the rematches they did with Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain? But does that mean Adam Cole is going to invoke a rematch clause against Ricochet? I feel like these guys could have done so much more, and a rematch after tonight probably is warranted. I think a rematch is probably something that a lot of us would like to see. But it's not going to happen at TakeOver. It's going to happen on NXT TV between now and November. We got September, October, and then half of November. It is going to happen on NXT TV. The rematch, if given to Adam Cole, is going to happen on TV. There's no way this match is going to happen at TakeOver. It's either Adam Cole invokes his rematch clause and loses again, or Adam Cole is moving up to the main event scene, and he's going to challenge Ciampa for the world title. But I don't think this is going to continue much further. He may invoke his rematch clause. We may get a rematch on NXT TV. Adam Cole may lose, and then we get Adam Cole getting a victory in War Games. So where does this go with Ricochet? Who does Ricochet defend the title against coming out of War Games? Maybe we get Velveteen Dream. But at that point, Velveteen Dream might even be called up to the main roster. I don't know. Call me up, Vince. Rumors of Meltzer and Alvarez and everybody else. Mike Johnson, the PW Insider, saying Velveteen Dream's about to be called up. Vince wants Velveteen Dream at 22 years old. Vince wants Velveteen Dream. Why? So he can dance in the conga line with No Way Jose? So he can team with Bobby Roode on Superstars? What are you going to do with Velveteen Dream? If the Dream is not in an IC title situation with Seth Rollins, or if he's not in a US title situation with Jeff Hardy, what are you doing with him? Why are you bringing him up? Do you have a plan for the Velveteen Dream? Do you have video packages ready for the Velveteen Dream? Is the WWE audience on the main roster even ready for the Dream? Do they even know who the Dream is? Will they care about the Dream? I don't think anybody is ready for the Dream. And I think that North American Championship specifically was made for guys like Dream. I said it today at my meet and greet. I said it today when I was in Brooklyn. Ricochet is above the North American Championship. Why they gave it to Ricochet and took it off Adam Cole is head-scratching to me. Ricochet doesn't even belong at NXT. Ricochet is the next AJ Styles for WWE. Ricochet belongs on Monday Night Raw, fighting guys like Seth Rollins and guys like Roman Reigns. Ricochet should be on SmackDown Live, challenging AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. But here he is, North American Champion. He is well above that at this point. And I think we all are aware of that. I think WWE is aware of that. But titles, like the North American title, were made specifically for the Velveteen Dream. I think we're getting a Velveteen... There's really nobody else. Unless you're going to put Lars Sullivan in the mid-card and put him against Ricochet. But that really doesn't entice me too much. Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream 2? With Velveteen Dream getting the North American Championship? I think that's the direction that they go. There is no one else on NXT's roster ready for Ricochet in the North American Championship. That title was made for Dream. And if the Dream doesn't have a title run before they call him up to the main roster, then that is a grave mistake. He's 22 years old. To me, that's barely putting cookies in the oven. He's learning from Shawn Michaels and William Regal and Triple H and everybody else involved with Triple H's team. You're going to take him away from that and away from the PC to do what? Please don't do that. 22 years old does not belong on the main roster. Not because of what he can't do, because he can do whatever they're doing and better. He doesn't belong on the main roster because you have nothing planned for him. You have nothing set for him. 22 years old, Velveteen Dream should be on the main roster 24-25. Easy. He ain't going nowhere in NXT. He's only going to find success in NXT. If you pluck him from NXT and put him on Monday Night Raw, all that success that could have been will be failure on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. This match, the last 10 minutes of this Ricochet match, before he won the North American Championship, absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. You will be having a very difficult time to find anything on SummerSlam in the last 10 minutes of this match that even comes close to this. Ricochet ducks a running kick, rolls Cole up for a 2. They trade shots in the middle of the ring, and I swear to God, man, they were trading shots. Back elbows, fucking open hand palm strikes, slaps, punches, elbows. It came to a point where they both knocked each other out, and Ricochet got the last shot in on Adam Cole, and he fell right on top of Adam Cole and pinned him without even knowing he pinned him. That was absolutely, I laughed out loud. Not because I thought it was funny. I laughed out loud because of how fucking epic that exchange back and forth was. Ricochet drops Cole. Cole falls on him. Oh, actually, Cole fell on him for a 2 count. I thought it was Ricochet. Fans cheer both of them and chant NXT. Huge NXT chants after the exchange. Fans are also chanting Mamma Mia, of course. Ricochet ends up playing possum and pulls Cole in for a big move. Ricochet goes to the top. Cole moves out of the way. Ricochet goes and hits a huge reverse Rana, sending him to the floor. And Morrow pops big, and the fans are chanting, holy shit. They bring it back in the ring. Ricochet goes to the top. He hits the 630 for the pin and the title. And Ricochet wins the North American Championship. Ricochet actually, mid-match here, he ends up springboarding into a backstabber. Adam Cole caught him off the springboard into a backstabber. And also, Ricochet catches a super kick, nails a discus forearm. Ricochet launches at Cole off the top ropes with a moonsault. But as he's flipping over in the moonsault position, Adam Cole times it perfectly and nails a super kick on Ricochet right in the face as he's coming down midair and goes for a cover, man. That was one of the best spots I've seen all year in this match. And people were going legit fucking crazy for what happened in this match. And like I said, at the end of this thing, Ricochet hit the 630, which I was surprised by. I thought Adam Cole was going to win it by some sort of interference. But WWE gave it to Ricochet. Ricochet is your new North American champion. Where we go from here, man, it's intriguing. But what I laid out for you is probably the best bet and the best case scenario for Ricochet. Adam Cole, you know, I feel like he didn't do much with the North American Championship, but he was at a standstill almost when Drew McIntyre came in. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Adam Cole was supposed to be in that position. And when Drew McIntyre got hurt, Adam Cole seemingly got pushed back. And they gave him the North American Championship, and they gave him Undisputed Era as a way to kind of make up for, you know, Drew McIntyre being in that main event spot and almost getting that spot, and then Drew McIntyre being hurt, and then they moved in Gargano, and then they moved in Black. So I think Adam Cole was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and now, you know, once he's done with Ricochet, I think WWE is going to move Adam Cole up because just based on his crowd reaction alone, Adam Cole is a main event talent. And we're going to see what happens here. Ricochet is your new North American champion. And I really can't have, you know, any problems with this. I don't have any problems with this. I'm just one of those, I'm in one of those moments where I'm just shocked that WWE pulled the trigger on that. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they did it. Ricochet is your new North American champion. Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler, man. You want to talk about championship matches here. You want to talk about championship matches. This is the personification of championship matches. And I mentioned this already in the beginning. The tale between these two women dated back to the Mae Young Classic. And I feel that after the Mae Young Classic, there was more to be told between these two. Kairi Sane was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I felt like she was another one of those victims for wrong place at wrong time syndrome in NXT. And WWE, you know, they took her from the Mae Young Classic. We all thought we were going to get what we seen of Kairi Sane on the Indies and when she was wrestling in Japan. And we didn't get that Kairi Sane. We got this cosplay, this cute pirate anime-esque Kairi Sane. Meanwhile, Shayna Baszler was coming in and bullying people and playing a real bully, unlike Alexa Bliss. Shayna Baszler was growing. Shayna Baszler was advancing. Her character was becoming a little bit more distinguished. And Shayna Baszler, ultimately, at the end of this thing, was the queen. You know, she is the queen of spades. She was legitimately the queen of NXT's women's division. And there's a lot of talented women in the NXT women's division. Kairi Sane, Bianca Belair, who I love, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai. You know, there's a lot of women in that division that I really adore. And Shayna Baszler has proved, you know, she's still slightly green in the ring, but it's about what she does and what she does for her opponent through body language, selling, her attitude, everything else. If she's nailing all of those things, 10 out of 10, you know, her in-ring skill, I could give a pass on. And Shayna Baszler has passed every single aspect with flying colors. She's going to get better in the ring. She's only a year in WWE full-time. There's no reason why she should not be getting better. You could take Shayna Baszler now. This is how confident I am in Shayna Baszler. You could take Shayna Baszler now and put her on Raw and SmackDown, and she would be leagues above 90% of the women's rosters on both Raw and SmackDown. And the fact that WWE has reportedly been wanting for Survivor Series, the 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen, it's no surprise to me that Kairi Sane won this match. I did Wrestle Rumble, WrestleRumble.com. I did my Wrestle Rumble picks. I know I picked Shayna Baszler on my NXT review. But when I did my Wrestle Rumble picks, I picked Kairi Sane because of that last-minute rumor about the horsewomen match at Survivor Series. You can't do that match at Survivor Series if Shayna Baszler is in NXT. Shayna Baszler is going to have to be affiliated with Ronda Rousey somehow, and Shayna Baszler is going to be brought to the main roster. She's either going to be placed with Ronda on Monday Night Raw, or she's going to be a plant. She's going to be a seed on SmackDown Live. Because I don't know how the match is going to work to begin with. Because Sasha and Bayley are on Raw. And we have Charlotte and Becky on SmackDown Live. So WWE needs to do some maneuvering here. They have to do some explanation if they want to get that match working for Survivor Series. But that's the first thing I thought of when Shayna Baszler lost this title tonight. And I mentioned this at the group meetup today. I mentioned this with the meet and greet that we did at 4th Avenue Pub. Kairi Sane was going to win this match. Kairi Sane is the champion, and the next challenger, if you're watching WWE television, has been set up to be Bianca Belair. So not only are we getting Shayna versus Kairi Sane, a rematch from the Mae Young Classic Finals, but one of the best matches in that entire tournament featured Kairi Sane and Bianca Belair. And you can imagine a Kairi Sane 1 year removed from the Mae Young Classic. Can you imagine a Bianca Belair 1 year removed from the Mae Young Classic against a Kairi Sane at Evolution? I mean, take my money right now. Bianca Belair takes the title from Kairi Sane. If not in November, in January. Simple as that. And then whenever it happens, Bianca Belair is going to be your women's champion. And then WWE, the next best thing. Because at this point, Shayna Baszler is going to be on the main roster. Kairi Sane can lobby for a rematch. Kairi Sane could be there, still floating around in the championship scene. But when Bianca Belair wins that title, there's no other one I want to see challenge Bianca Belair than Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae has been a factor on WWE television. This is exactly what I said on my NXT Takeover preview and predictions. Your money match right now, if Baszler loses, is Belair versus Kairi Sane. You're going to give me Kairi Sane versus Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is going to win. Bianca Belair's next opponent and challenge, and she's going to lose the title to Candice LeRae. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae are going to win their championships in April during WrestleMania season on that Saturday as NXT goes up against the G1 Supercard with New Japan and Ring of Honor. It's going to be a husband and wife combination winning their championships consecutively on the same night and making it a feel-good moment for both Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. Mark this video. Remember this video. It's going to happen. Believe me, that's where they're going with the women's division. That's the only thing that makes sense right now. Sane goes to the top. She hits the insane elbow off the second rope. She doesn't go to the top. She goes to the second rope, and she hits the insane elbow from the second rope. She goes back up for another, and Baszler rolls to the floor. So Baszler is not only a MMA specialist, but she's got good, keen senses as she sensed Kairi Sane coming off the top rope for the insane elbow and rolls to the outside. Sane turns, nails a crossbody while she's planted on the top rope as she was going for another elbow. She just twists on the turnbuckle and dives off for a crossbody. I love to see Alexa Bliss do that. Sane brings Baszler back into the ring, goes to the top again, hits another big elbow, but Baszler kicks out. I don't know if anyone has kicked out of the insane elbow. I think Shayna Baszler kicked out of the... I guess the way I seen it now, looking back on it, she lost the title, but she kicked out of probably the best female finisher in all of NXT. She kicked out of the insane elbow. She was built up just through that. She looked like a badass through that, but she lost the title. She looked good kicking out of that, but she lost the title. Kairi Sane hits the elbow, but Baszler kicks out. And Sane can't believe it. Sane with a leg submission now. Baszler turns it into the Kirifuda clutch. Sane is fading. She finally breaks the hold by grabbing the bottom rope. Baszler with a heel hook. And Sane counters and looks for a submission. But Baszler gets the bottom rope. Sane ties up Baszler with the ropes. And Sane, she is in position now. She goes for an Alabama slam. Sane goes to the top for a third insane elbow. But Baszler at this point. So Kairi Sane hits the insane elbow off the second rope. And then she goes for another one, and Baszler kicks out. She goes for another one, and Baszler turns this into a Kirifuda clutch, and Sane counters. She counters in the same way that I believe Bret Hart countered the $1 Million Dream in 1996 against Stone Cold Steve Austin. He countered the $1 Million Dream at the Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden in the same way that Kairi Sane countered the Kirifuda clutch. But Kairi Sane, she was in the Kirifuda clutch and she reversed it into pinning Baszler's shoulders to the mat. But it was the same pinning predicament that Bret Hart got Stone Cold Steve Austin in. But Bret Hart kicked himself off the top turnbuckle and then rolled himself over onto Steve Austin by pinning his shoulders to the mat. If you guys know what I'm talking about. It was a great women's championship match. I thought this was going to go on in the middle, and we were going to get Ricochet and Adam Cole to be the co-main event. By the end of this thing, looking back on it, you couldn't have gone wrong with this. This could have went either way, and the way that these women delivered this match, fantastic. This may very well be one of the best women's matches that you'll see all year, and I wonder why WWE isn't giving me this type of shit on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. How you could look at this and say, yes, this is women's wrestling. And then watch Monday Night Raw and say, yes, this is women. No, it's not. It's not women's wrestling on Monday night. It's a divas division disguised with the terminology of revolution and historic. This is where the women's revolution continues to flourish and grow. This is women's wrestling. What you see on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live is nothing but political garbage. It's nothing but favoritism. Kairi Sane would be nowhere on Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live. Nowhere. This is where women thrive. And you're going to have some fucking idiot telling me that, oh, it caters to a niche audience. You're okay with mediocrity? You're okay with subpar wrestling on Monday night when it comes to the women? What have you seen on the main roster this year on Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-view that even came close to this? The only names that stick out to me when talking about quality in-ring action on Monday and Tuesday is Ember Moon, Sasha Banks, and Asuka. That is it. Everybody else in that division, Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, they are shoved because of political favoritism. For whatever the reason is. Charlotte because her last name is Flair. Alexa Bliss, no doubt in my mind, it's because of how she looks. Carmella, you're looking at your women's divisions and you're okay with Alexa Bliss and Carmella as your women's champions. Meanwhile, we're getting Shayna Baszler And Kairi Sane delivering probably what will be one of the best women's matches of 2018. If this match is not in your top 10 women's matches, if this match is not in your top 10, period, for WWE in 2018, then you are an absolutely clueless fuck. I love my women in NXT. WWE and the women's divisions on both Raw and SmackDown should really open their fucking eyes and take notice. This is a revolution. What you're seeing on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live is a fucking embarrassment. Finally, my God, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to begin with this shit, man. I've been drinking all afternoon. And I'm still drinking when I'm doing this review. And if you guys wonder what happened to my voice, JD, why do you sound like that? Why do you sound hoarse? I did House of Glory last night. I had no voice to begin with, and I've been drinking all afternoon. I've been drinking since 3 p.m. Last man standing, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. People were wondering, will we see the attacker show face during NXT Takeover Brooklyn? We did not see the attacker. We did not see who was responsible for the attack on Aleister Black. I made mention that we need to see him tonight. WWE needs to strike while the iron is hot with this storyline. They did not do that. They let Gargano and Ciampa go out there and completely steal the show one more time. When I do a top 10, Johnny Gargano is going to be in 4 of the top 10 matches on my list for 2018. It is absolutely ridiculous how good he is and how good Tommaso Ciampa is. I mean, I got to represent. I don't buy any WWE licensed merchandise. This I bought without any hesitation. Where do we go from here, man? The ending to this match was absolutely fucking brilliant. Brilliant. Everybody was like, JD, it's going to end in a draw. We're going to get another match, and it's going to end in a draw. I honestly thought you guys were right, and I was wrong. By the last 3 minutes of this match, I thought you guys were right, and I was wrong. As soon as Johnny Gargano handcuffed Tommaso Ciampa to the stage, or the speakers, or the LED boards, whatever the fuck he handcuffed him on the stage, I thought, that's it. Tommaso Ciampa is not getting up. Johnny Gargano, he lost this match again. He lost this match again based on his own emotion. He lost because he had Ciampa beat. He had him beat again because he was handcuffed, and he let his own emotion get the best of him when he didn't need to go that extra mile. He went the extra mile to try and beat Ciampa, but Ciampa beat him because his emotions were just too much. And Tommaso Ciampa reaped the benefits of over-emotional Johnny. Tommaso Ciampa was nailed with a running knee while handcuffed. The running knee sent Johnny Gargano so far off the stage, into the speakers, onto the concrete, that he injured his own knee, and he fell to the concrete. The referee was counting to 10, and being that Ciampa was already on the stage, and he was knocked out, all he needed to do was roll off the stage and maintain balance on his 2 feet, and he would win the match. And that's exactly what he did. And at the end of this thing, Tommaso Ciampa raised the championship above his head, and Johnny Gargano was being stretchered out or carried out by officials, and he was asking himself, why, all over again. The credits hit the bottom left of the screen. We thought we were going home. Tommaso Ciampa comes out and adds more insult to injury by raising the NXT Championship above his head, while Johnny Gargano is being assisted up by 3 or 4 different officials. This was an absolutely fantastic main event. I know a lot of people have reached out to me saying, JD, how can you really sit here and warrant another match between Gargano and Ciampa? Yet we're seeing Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and you're shitting all over that, but not giving the same amount of shit to Gargano and Ciampa. Simple. This is storytelling. WWE, it's political garbage. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano is the Shawn Michaels and it's the Shawn Michaels and Triple H of 2018. You know, it's the Shawn Michaels Chris Jericho of its day. It's the Shawn Michaels Undertaker of its era. You're really comparing my love for Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar? Are you out of your fucking mind? How is that even a comparison? This is for the NXT Championship, and they've given you a non-sanctioned match, a match that wasn't even sanctioned by WWE officials per storyline, a match in which Johnny Gargano, if he lost, he loses his job. And then they go to a street fight in Chicago in which Johnny Gargano had his wedding ring thrown into the crowd, spit on by Ciampa, and lost to a Ciampa who is handcuffed with both hands tied behind his back. And now Johnny Gargano had Ciampa handcuffed again and loses when he had the man beat. All he needed to do was knee him in the face and watch as he squirmed trying to get back to his feet. Johnny Gargano went that extra mile, and that extra mile was all the distance that he didn't need. It was over. This storyline is fan-fucking-tastic. I'm telling you right now, this is not the end. This is not the end. WWE went from Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa to Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Okay? Aleister Black is coming back. Aleister Black is going to get his rematch against Tommaso Ciampa. Johnny Gargano is not going to get another title shot until the attacker is revealed, and the attacker goes after Black and Gargano, because this was set up strategically by Ciampa. This is what's going to happen. A lot of people are asking me, no more Ciampa and Gargano. I agree. I agree. Whoever the attacker is going to team up with Ciampa against Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano. That is how I would do it. And when this attacker is revealed, there's going to be a Ciampa Black rematch, and then we're going to go into 2019. We're going to get Black versus Ciampa at the Royal Rumble. Ciampa is not losing this title this year, and Ciampa is taking that title into New York City WrestleMania weekend. Ciampa is going to fight Johnny Gargano one final time in NXT. And that one final time will be either a 3 stages of hell or it will be a Hell in a Cell. Mark my words. We've seen a stipulation for every match that these guys have had. It will be no different in Chapter 4. This will be the culmination of this feud. Yes, it's predictable. Yes, it's going to be a 4th match in a year between these two guys. But 4 matches in a year, ultimately to tell a greater story, and that story is Johnny Gargano overcoming his best friend, with all that emotion finally getting him the NXT Championship. The same night his wife wins the Women's Championship. The night in which WWE is going head-to-head with New Japan Pro Wrestling at Madison Square Garden. You can fucking mark my words. That is what's going to happen. It's either 3 stages of hell or a Hell in a Cell. And it's been reported already that Triple H has been hands-on with this storyline down to the very last detail. And if Triple H is monitoring this storyline down to the very last detail, you know Johnny Gargano is training and teaches, or he's being taught by Shawn Michaels. So it's not a coincidence that Triple H is hands-on with this. And Triple H is the head of NXT who monitors everything. He's hands-on with the storyline. And Shawn Michaels is the one who is, training Johnny Gargano down at the Performance Center and teaching and molding Johnny Gargano down at the Performance Center. That's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Because Triple H sees what we see. Triple H sees himself in Ciampa. Shawn Michaels sees himself in Johnny Gargano. Shawn Michaels and Triple H see their feud materializing. They are living vicariously. They are doing what they wish they could do, but they can't do anymore. They're living vicariously through Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. And if you didn't see that tonight in this match, you need to start opening your fucking eyes. I am telling you right now, as long as Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa stay away from one another, that match in April is going to be a tearjerker for many of us who've watched this match and this feud develop over the last year. And the funny thing is, when people are starting to get bored with the same match over and over and over again, it's just a different stipulation. These guys managed to do something different. These guys managed to just break out and give you something different, and they managed to best themselves every single time. This match was absolutely fantastic. I don't even know where to begin. The best part of this match, outside the ending, the best part of this match is when Tommaso Ciampa did Meet Me in the Middle. He took his knee and he put a steel chair over his knee. And he ran into Johnny Gargano, who was laid back first on the barricade. He nailed him so hard with a running knee that it broke the barricade into the timekeeper's area. He started throwing the rubble of the barricade on top of Gargano. He started throwing the timekeeper's table on Gargano, steel chairs, the timekeeper's table, the bell, the debris of the announce table's chairs in which Mauro Ranallo was sitting in. He buried Johnny Gargano under all this debris, and I swear on my grandfather's tomb, I could not stop laughing. It was so fucking epic, I could not stop laughing. Tommaso Ciampa is a fucking national treasure. And in the end of this thing, he won because of Tommaso Ciampa just being smarter than Gargano, and because of Johnny Gargano's emotion getting the best of him. They ripped up the ring again. There was a great table spot where he was just driven through the table, was Ciampa. He had a table flat standing up on its legs, and then he had, Gargano had another table laying face first with the legs sticking up in the air. He did a air raid crash through the table onto the concrete. The mat was already lifted up at that point. You know, the ring was cut open again. The wooden panels and plates were exposed, and you know, there was more carnage delivered there with the ring just being destroyed. This match went all over the place. A fire extinguisher was brought into play. Blinded Ciampa, you know. It got Gargano a quick advantage when he needed one. Dude, this match was fucking great. This match was fantastic. There's no other way for me to put it. I can't even talk about this match. There's so much in my notes. I can't even go over what was good and what was good in this match. You know, it's just unreal how NXT continues to deliver, and WWE is struggling to keep people awake. Meanwhile, we got Ciampa and Gargano doing things that we wish Monday Night Raw was doing, and people are calling me an NXT mark. Yeah, I'm a mark for good wrestling. I'm a mark for good wrestling. What you guys are a mark for is shit. That's your NXT review. I'm getting the fuck out of here, man. I gotta get some rest before my meet and greet with Justin LaBar tomorrow, and I'm gonna be talking about this for sure tomorrow. You guys want to come on out and hear my live thoughts on NXT Takeover and what happened tonight? 205th, Justin LaBar and Ticket Drew, 3 to 6. Gonna be a fucking hell of a night, man. Come on out. I'll be drinking vodka tonic all night. It's gonna be a good night, man. This is your NXT review. Hit that thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think down below. Follow me on Twitter at JDFROMNY206, and everybody that came out tonight for the meet and greet at 4th Avenue Pub. This one's for you guys. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.